philosophy. He feels like NBA players are grown-ups. These are people who've been coached at all levels, and they know how to play, and they know how to work it out. And so, you fix it. But I'm also giving up my play of the day now. There was a play where you see Steve Nash from the sidelines basically telling somebody to basically run down court and just cherry pick because they're gonna press the ball, and to see that play come off and have him, Steve Nash do Steve Nash things, like having the Steve Nash quote unquote vision. That was the first time I've seen it so outward. But in his defense, I think what the other thing that he does great is just how he talks to the media and handles everything else, and just basically he's a good company man. He's a good face for the team. But tonight, I think you're starting to see him, basically pull levers that's going to work. Jeff Green, it's nowhere in the box score. It's not in the plus minus. You're not going to see it in the box score what Jeff Green did tonight. I just think he just played a hell of a game. Just being a monster. But okay, let's do our three things and get the hell out of here. Let's go ahead because I've given up my first two. That was my play. I gave you my player. I'm gonna go ahead and say. Matter of fact, you why don't you start? I've been talking a lot.
No, okay. I gave my. I mean, I didn't really give a player. I thought this was Nash's biggest game of the year. But I think in terms of play, I actually thought that that the Harden three to put them up 8, even though of course they had to make it interesting at the end, which was horrendous. I thought that was the biggest moment, and it was a classic Harden play. It looked like it was contested, but with him and the separation he creates, it's really not that bad. That to me was finally the icing.
Who was your player? Repeat it.
Honestly, I'm going with Nash again.
Nash is your player.
Nash is my player. I think the only other person I would have talked about is I would have said I think it's amazing that they won, considering that I thought Kevin was pretty terrible on everything besides.
We've been, what it is. We're watching his defense. We're watching the man-on-man defense, and even though the scoring was brilliant and the ball went in the hole every time he shot it, the defense was not pretty, and Kawhi had his way with him a lot of times. When he switched on him.
So to be honest, I don't want to name call or anything. I just thought he generally just looked kind of out of it at times. I thought there were a couple times dribbling where he tried to do moves it was obvious what he was going to do, and it led to turnovers. I thought there was that one play where I think it was Brown passed it to him, or TLC Shamet. Sorry, Shamet passed it to him. Kawhi got his hand in there, and Katie didn't even really fight and go for it, and then kind of didn't really hustle back on D, and so from that perspective, I was just a little irritated. By the way, there's one. I know we're trying to go a little bit shorter for the listeners after the game. I just have one quick question for you. What do you make of, because Ian Eagle talked about this, and I actually thought it was a really interesting point. So me and you have obviously been concerned about the amount of minutes that all these guys are playing, but what was interesting to see was how Harden and Durant and Irving are all in the top 10 to 12 in minutes played per game. But in total minutes, they're way, way lower because they've basically been doing the one of them rest, then 2 of them play, 3 of them play, 1 of them rest. It is an interesting luxury. I do wonder what the difference is between playing more often at 28 to 33 minutes, like what Giannis gets to do, versus them kind of going all out, but they are just missing full games.
So the folks who kind of are the experts of this, and I'm being guy who read something on the internet, guy, but the word, from the stuff that I read, and most of it's trainers and fitness folks, and the crazy thing is I'm a junkie for this stuff because I have a little kid who plays ball who needs it to stay sane. Like, he needs to just do wind sprints or he will destroy my house. So I always wonder, like, how much is too much, and what are the warning signs, and what really the days in between rest do the body really great. When you're in motion, it almost hurts you to stop or take yourself out of motion or pause. Like, if these guys need to kind of familiarize themselves with playing in the playoffs, playing playoff type minutes, and having it be regular. What they don't need is to have that compounded with back-to-backs, 3 and 5 nights, stuff like that, and they don't have to. That really is the beauty of having 3 superstars, is that you could even play one of them and be all right, and then against some teams, and then you could play 2 of them and rest one periodically, and you're gonna win. So I completely agree with that, and I'm completely with that. So to try to keep in the fact that we're going over, let's keep this moving, and my stat in the night is the fact that the Clippers were held to 44 points in the paint. Jeff Green, again, he was meeting guys before they got into the paint. He was there a step faster than DeAndre's been lately. And DeAndre had some good dunks, and he looked good in stretches. But again, it's really just his foot speed and his ability to just burst off the floor the way that he used to. Like, you see him finishing alley-oops, but there's times that Harden wants to throw him an oop, and he's not ready because it takes him too much to coil and burst off the floor. He doesn't jump very fast, and he doesn't move very fast, towards the folks he has to defend. And so people have been kind of just scoring points in the paint on the Nets at will. But at the same time, I think the Clippers settled for a lot of jump shots, and but KD and I gotta give KD a little bit of credit. He wasn't very good at it, but just the deterrent of his length, matched with Jeff Green, made it possible for them to keep the Clippers out of the paint. And I could see that they were trying to do it, but they just looked better with Jeff Green recovering and defending guys. So I'm happy about that. What was your stat of the night?
90, man. Scary hours combined for 90. That's 90 against with Paul George and Kawhi guarding 2 out of the 3 of them at almost all times. That's pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah, no, you saw. Look, the other guy shot very well too, but you saw what happens if you're gonna be concentrating on James and Kevin. Kyrie is going to eat you alive.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Kyrie took 23 shots and Kevin only took 13. That it was because Kevin had Kawhi on him, and James had Paul George on him.
Yep.
So 2 + 2 = 4, and so obviously that's what we got to see tonight. But you gotta, like I said, man, if there's gonna be a team that makes no defense work, it's this one. 90 points. Only in America, right?
Exactly.
Dude, man, I'm thrilled. I'm happy they won. It's a good look for us. But we're gonna have to do a show on the buyout market. I'm hoping to bring on some Nets aficionados and come talk about it. But this is a work in progress. Be happy, but be cautiously happy, Nets fans. The Phoenix Suns did this for years. The Houston Rockets have done this for years, beating top 3 teams, top 2 teams, having great regular season records. We need some other stuff, man. We need some other stuff. But regardless, we put that in our pocket for tonight and say we're a damn good team and we're in the championship conversation. Sam, anything else you want to leave the folks?
That's it. That's it, honestly.
I'm your host for this experiment that we call the Front Office Podcast. And we will be continuing watching this experiment, which is the all offense, no defense Brooklyn Nets. For your listening pleasure and just to hear about your team and from people who really watch them and really keeps an eye and really cares about the team. Like that's what opportunity that podcasting affords us all as a community of people, especially as a Nets fandom. I want us to be the highest IQ fan base out there. I want us to not be silly. We are an exclusive bunch, but we're a smart group. So I'm gonna challenge. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, and the front office is gonna be here. We're gonna talk about this next game too. Sam, you good?
Let's do it. Big win.
For my partner Sam, to all of my friends out there in New York City, peace.